Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Stream of Thought podcast, where thoughts flow and ideas stick. It's your host, Jasmine. And if you noticed, I am in a different I'm sitting on something different because normally I'm in that pink, red, whatever color you want to call it chair, which I love and which is still here. You can still kind of see it in the shot a little bit. So I'll probably never get rid of that chair. But we got a sofa. And so now I'm sitting in a sofa. Well, it's more like a love seat. It's small, but it's a start and it's cute. I even accessorized it a little bit with the trick or treat pillow, which could be kind of festive because Halloween is next month. But more to come with the chair. Or with the couch. I'm really excited to just decorate more in here. Like I said, in other episodes, we just moved into this place. It's been almost a month or exactly a month. It went by kind of fast, but yeah, it was pretty empty in here, and we're adding things every week. And I'm really excited to just like do more and to make it look like I really want it to look. But this is a start. And it's good seating in this pretty empty home still. So yeah, this will be on in future podcasts until I get a new couch, of course. But this is what I'll be sitting on. Yeah. And it was interesting the way that we got it. It was free. So we were looking for a couch, and couldn't find one that we loved and also was like reasonably priced. So we were like, oh, maybe we should just wait on the couch. And then literally someone that my husband knows just said they had an extra couch. And did we want it? Like, absolutely. So, God is good all the time, right? And all the time, God is good. So, yeah, this is my couch, and also we got a rug as well. So this is cute. It's coming together. I'm not mad at it. But one thing that getting this couch reminded me of was, well, I'll backtrack a little bit. I love, and I've said this so many times, and it is so true still. I love like true crime, and I love like just shows. It doesn't have to be true crime. It can be shows about crime, like you're solving a mystery, right? And so one of my top favorite shows is Only Murders in the Building. So it's like Selena Gomez, and I can never remember the two old guys' names, but season 5 just came out. And so I was like, oh, I was so excited. I was, oh my gosh. So basically the premise of the show is that, it's Selena and the two old guys, and they solve the murders in the building. Somebody dies every season in the building, and they have to figure out what happened. And so um and it's a hit because it's 5 seasons in, so everybody wants to watch it. But they also created a podcast in the show, so they talk about each step of the case or whatever they're doing and to solve the mystery. And so it was clever of them to create a podcast to go along with it. So they literally created the official Only Murders in the Building podcast. And the setup of that podcast is so like vintage, and um it's just like so aesthetically pleasing. It's like a lot of golds, a lot of like that mustard yellow, like that velvet green. And that honestly is what I want my setup to look like, but just what I want my house to look like in general. Like, I don't want it to be too flashy, but I just like that vintage aesthetic. I think it is so nice, and I think that it looks really good on camera. And so it'll come eventually. I did see some things that were like green velvet and like brown velvet, and I like those, but I also feel like I don't want it to look too crazy in here, like all over the place, because honestly, things don't match right now. Like, things things are very much like, okay, you got brown over here, you got gray over here, you got this rug that's like different colors, then you got this pink chair or this red chair, and it's like, okay, we need to decide the style because it's a bit overwhelming. So I do get like that. But if you know anything about Only Murders in the Building, I would definitely say check out the show, but check out the podcast as well, because that aesthetic is like chef's kiss. That's exactly what I want just in my life and in my home. So, yeah. Another thing that literally came up just yesterday that was, I guess when you watch the episode, you can just pick and choose on your own if you feel like it's irritating or not. However, let me give you the backstory. So, I have been dealing with this for a while. I would say at least a couple years of people spelling my name wrong. And like initially just saying that it's like, oh, what's the big deal? It's not that serious, right? But my name is Jasmine, Jasmine. I do realize that there are so many different ways to spell Jasmine, right? And I have absolutely no problem, none at all. If you don't know me, you don't know how to spell my name, you've never seen my name, and you spell it how you want to spell it, then great. I will be totally okay with that if you don't know me and you've never spoken to me. However, I will get emails and I will get messages from people who had to search my name, right? So you searched my name and you knew that it was spelled Jasmine, and yet when you messaged me, you spelled it wrong. So that blows my mind, because then I'm like, this is intentional, So you let it go as much as you can, right? But then you get to the point where it's like, this is actually pretty rude. So I did get to that point the other day, but I was like, okay, so I don't want to be like straight up like nasty, like, because I'm not like that, but I do want to be clear. Okay. So I even went to Chat GPT and I was like, so how do I say this in like the nicest way possible, but also like matter of fact, And so, and that's a side note. Chat GPT is like some people, different people have different opinions on it, but I would say, hey, use it. Don't let it be your brain, but like use it to your advantage. It's there for a reason. If you get stuck on something, or if you don't know, if you need help with how to word something, Chat GPT, but don't let it be your brain. Like I said, like don't lose yourself in it, and just let that be your whole personality, like, because it's AI, it's not a person. But anyway, so basically what ChatGPT came up with was just say, my name is Jasmine, Jasmine. And so that's what I did. Like I started the conversation with like an exclamation point, hi, whatever the person's name was, exclamation point, how are you? And then I said, by the way, my name is Jasmine. And then I answered, whatever questions they had and went along with that conversation. And luckily it actually went pretty well. Like that person took it pretty well. They were like, yeah, I know, like my bad. I accidentally missed a keystroke or something like that. And then and then I was like, oh, no problems, it's fine. I was just, it's fine. And they were like, oh, but you got me together though. So it kind of became like a joke, but I feel like, depending on the person, depending on the personality, they probably would have took it a different way. But yeah, so that went over surprisingly well. But I have been dealing with that, and I'll be like, I just don't know about people. Like, people want me to say something. Do I let it go? Do I whatever, And that brought me to another thing. People only do what you allow. And that's a small example, my name, whatever. It's not a big deal, right? But life in general, if people literally only do what you allow, if you keep allowing things to happen, then they have no reason to stop. If you let people talk to you crazy, treat you bad, then they're going to keep treating you bad and talking to you crazy until you speak up. So, you know, I would say stand up for yourself. And that's something I had to learn. Like it took me some time to be like, you know what, I'm gonna stand up for myself. Um, but now, like I do it without hesitation. Like if you're rude, if you're disrespectful, and that's just, then I'm not okay. I'm not okay with it. I'm not gonna keep letting you disrespect me or talk to me crazy or whatever the case. So But I do think it's a learning experience, and I had to learn that in life. People only do what you allow. So doesn't mean don't be nice and don't have respect for people. What that does mean though is don't be a doormat and don't let people run over top of you. So it's just stand up for yourself, do that, because you're worthy and you deserve it. So yeah, so that was something that made me like spiral and think of all these other possibilities of what could possibly happen in just life in general and just everything. But that's the advice that I would give to my younger self and that I would give to anybody else right now. Like stand up for yourself. Um, but be a good person. Be a good person, but stand up for yourself. Another side note. So I cut my hair a few weeks ago, and I'm not really sure how I feel about it. Like I like it sometimes, and then other times I really don't like it because it's like so short, and I cut a few inches off, and that's why I have this headband on because I was like, I don't even know if I like it. So yeah, we have a love hate relationship, and I think I'll just be glad when it grows back because my hair was I had a lot of hair, and but I had to get it cut. So, anyways, um, uh, something that made me like laugh from the other day was, and this is probably not even funny. This is not funny. Now, but it is. It is so funny for some reason. Like these infomercials, um, in commercials that come on, and they're talking about this new drug. Like this drug is good for, I don't know, like let's say it's Ozempic, good for weight loss, right? And and then they talk about, and that's the main thing. It's the main thing it's good for is weight loss. And you're going to be happy with the results. And then in these infomercials, they start going on about the side effects. And the side effects could be so much worse than the benefits of this so-called drug. So it's like, what? So I'd be listening to them and then I started laughing because I'm like, what? You mean, okay, high blood pressure, liver problems, kidney problem, kidney failure, diabetes, and then it's like you can have all of those combined, and if you die, just make sure somebody definitely should call 911 because it's like, why would you even do this? Well, at that point, why would you even do this drug? Like I get Ozempic is and or Wegovy or whatever the other brands are, like they're very popular right now. I get that. Like some people are using it because they're diabetic because that was the intention, I believe, but other people are using it to lose weight, and then they have these other issues, and a lot of these drugs weren't fully tested before people just start jumping on the craze, like, oh my god, I can do this and I can lose weight instantly, I don't have to work out, blah blah blah, but actually there's a lot of issues that you could have from taking this however many times a week or day or whatever you have to take it. But yeah, those just make me laugh because I'm like, yo, and people still are like, okay, like it's worth the risk, but like, is it though? Because you could have all these other problems, and then you have to get on medication for those problems, and then it's like a ripple effect, it's a domino effect, and you can't. You might be losing weight, but you're also pretty sick. So I just find that to be interesting. But that made me think of another commercial, and this is also not funny. However, it used to make me laugh. Like I would laugh. And me and my brother, we are terrible. We were terrible. So the Life Alert commercials. Back in the day, the Life Alert commercials it would be an old lady and she would be like, I've fallen and I can't get up. But it was the way that she said it. It was the way that she said it that I would just be like, oh my God, that is so funny. That is so bad. But they changed it. So the little girl, the old lady, little girl, the old lady doesn't say that anymore in the commercials. But yeah, I couldn't take it. And like, I'm sorry. But that used to get me. It used to get me every time. Used to get me every time. Another thing that I feel like shouldn't get me, but it used to get me was Forrest Gump. Now, okay. I for real thought Forrest Gump was a comedy. Like for real. This is so bad. It's so bad. Some is I don't even want to talk about it now because I feel like such a terrible person. But yeah. Look, I was young. All right. You can be young, naive, and kind of dumb and laughing at things, but it's definitely not a comedy. It's a drama. Like it's not even funny. So, and the whole life alert is also not funny because they have fallen and they can't get up. So they need yeah, they need that. Yeah, so anyways, I have had a really I think at the last episode that I posted was I think it was 2 weeks ago or maybe it was 3 weeks ago. I've been kind of doing better. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna post this one. And I don't have a whole lot of free time because I'm just doing so many things and I have my hand in so many pots, exciting things. Like I can't wait for things to come to fruition. Like um because it's they're fulfilling. But life has been busy, but I still enjoy this. I enjoy this a lot. It's fun to get behind the camera and just talk, which is something that I didn't know I was ever gonna like. Like I wasn't sure if, excuse me, this will be something that I would want to continue to do, or that I would even want to talk about all these random things. Who knew I had all these random things in my mind, and that the first time I got in front of the camera, I was comfortable. I was so comfortable. So yeah, that's what that tells me, that this is something that I can continue to do. This is something fun that I enjoy. So yeah, to wrap it all up, those are some super random things, like, but all on my mind this week. And oh, actually, one last thing was I think it was a saying or somebody said it on a different podcast. Is that because me being a podcaster and even before this, but I like to listen to a lot of podcasts. I like to listen to true crime podcasts, but I also like to listen to like relationship podcasts. Like, tell me about that. And of course, podcasts and panels and stuff that talk about God. But I like to hear different perspectives on different things. So I think it was a relationship podcast where the woman was giving advice. One of the ladies was giving advice, and she was like, my advice is to not do wifey things before you become a wife. And I was like, yeah, that's interesting because I wasn't always doing it. Like I was definitely doing some extra stuff back in the day that I shouldn't have done. Like, why am I washing your clothes? And we're not even like that. But um so or just going the extra mile. I'm not saying don't be a good girlfriend or like, of course be a good girlfriend, but there's a difference between a girlfriend and a wife. And there's levels to this. So I'm not going to do wifey things for you if I don't have a ring. And if you're not even talking about being with me like that, then don't expect meals every night. Don't expect me to be doing your laundry. Don't expect these things, because if I'm doing all of this already, then what do you really need to marry me for? Now, somebody else on that podcast had a different opinion because they were like, okay, you kind of have to do certain things in order to get that ring, you know? And so that's why I was like, yeah, I mean, it's a fine line, I guess. It's a fine line, but don't go overboard, because then you're going to feel like you're doing too much. And then he feels like, then what does he have? Why does he need, or she, whatever, or why does that person need to take the next step with you when they get everything? Now you've given them everything. It's nothing being left to the imagination for them to wonder about, or for them to feel, or for them to look forward to, because you will be their wife one day. um so yeah, I think it's a fine line, and I feel like you have to determine what that line is yourself, like when you're in a relationship, because it's different for different people. But yeah, And as a wife now, haven't been a wife that long, but plan to be. But yeah, I feel like it's a lesson for sure. And I do things slightly different now that I'm a wife than I did before. And I was always a good girl, I was a good girlfriend. But now as a wife, I feel like the responsibility is different, and I like it. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing certain things. Um, and so yeah, that was a really good panel slash podcast that I was listening to, because it's just so interesting to hear what men and women, and single women, single men, married men, to hear what they have to say about it, because different people see things differently. So, yeah, but that was it for this week. Thank you all for listening, and I will see you next time. Bye.